Welcome to the Five-week Linguist Show. If you want to learn a language or you teach a language, you've come to the right place. Join Janina each week for tips, resources, and advice for making engaging language learning happen anytime, anywhere.
Welcome to the Five-week Linguist Show. This week, I want to talk about Google Slides. And a lot of the activities that I'm going to talk about are more geared towards language teachers than independent learners, though there's some takeaways for independent learners that I want to talk about with each of these uses. So essentially, Google Slides is a presentation, right? I mean, it's really as simple as that. And I don't want to insult anybody by, talking about the really basic, we present things, right? We present pictures and vocabulary. But if you're an independent learner, I think it's really worth noting that the Google Slides has so many great templates. It's worth noting as a teacher too, but specifically if you're an independent learner, you can really easily make your own flashcards on Google Slides. Go ahead and select that and take images, put pictures there, and you have a beautiful set of flashcards. And teachers, of course, we use these to introduce vocabulary. And that's a really obvious use of that. But I really like all the different things that you can use a simple presentation for. So we just talked about independent learners and being able to take that presentation and make it into something as useful and practical as a set of flashcards. A really easy, free set of flashcards that you can download. And of course, students can do that too, and they can do all sorts of fun games with those flashcards, quizzing each other and, printing doubles. And then you have games like concentration or Go Fish. Those are great. And independent language learners, I just wanted to kind of put in there, even if you're studying on your own, you don't have that fun interactive part of it, but that you would with say being in a class and being able to play Go Fish. But I think part of what's really great about that is the tactile part of it. And as an independent learner, you can get that too. Playing concentration where you're trying to remember things, or simply quizzing yourself 10 minutes a day on a set of words until you know them. You put aside the ones that you know really well. I really like rings to put in flashcards, kind of, put them all in a ring. Or my nephew does this brilliant thing with, he has this little sandwich bags, and he organizes what he knows, what he doesn't know. He's got a whole color coding system, and he's really successful with that. The next thing that I wanted to talk about was that simple presentation. If you're a teacher, of course, we can share that in a bunch of ways. However, we're supported in doing that. Playing 9-grid bingo. This was a fantastic idea I saw from Martina Bex. It's just basically take out a piece of paper, 9-grid, and they write in words from your presentation. So a lot of people use Google Classroom now. If you've got that in Google Classroom, they can go through the presentation and they pick 9 words, and then everybody plays. So I think that's really, really great. I also have some Google Slide bingo for you as well if you teach Spanish. And I also think another takeaway here for independent language learners is to make sure that you find something that's really fun. I understand that it would be not the best investment of your time if you're an independent language learner to, be playing, making all kinds of activities with Google Slides necessarily. But But the really good takeaway there is to make sure that you find something that's really fun. Next, I have a daily activity that I think is really powerful. And it's doing the calendar in class every day. And that sounds really elementary, because it's an activity from elementary school, but it's a really powerful way to learn a lot of language, using that tool to talk about the weather, the seasons, the numbers, the days, the weeks. And you do it over and over again, and it becomes natural, and it becomes a skill you develop really well. And anything with slides can be done with sort of layers. You make one layer the background, and the other layer can be movable, right? So you can change the days. And I'll share with you a calendar I made last Christmas when I learned how to do these different things with layers. That's also how I learned to make the bingo, the layers in different presentations. And a takeaway for anybody who's an independent language learner, please don't, I give the calendar as an example, but anything that seems really simple and easy, don't underestimate it, that it's a really powerful thing to review, on your, if you're journaling, writing the day and the date every time you write and what the weather was like that day. It's a really great review, and that vocabulary will stick with you forever once you've really got it down. Next, I wanted to talk about a tool called Fishbole, and it's basically an add-on. And essentially, if you make a presentation, you can do a voiceover using Google Slides. And there's other ways to do that. You don't need this plugin necessarily. You can download, the Google Slide is, Keynote if you're a Mac user, or PowerPoint, and record from there. But this is a really convenient plugin. And if you're an independent learner, I think there's some really good takeaways here. Consider you can make your own presentations, and they don't have to be fancy because you're the only one seeing it, but pictures and themes make for fantastic speaking exercises. So you can create some great speaking exercises for yourself. So even writing down some things that you want to talk about in bullet point, and then recording it in Fishbole as you talk about these things. You can do it once a week, and it can be your fluency recording. And these essentially presentations, these movies that are made, are super powerful, because then you're going to have a great documentation of your progress. And you can also do things, give yourself visual prompts. You can put photos in there instead. I think the bullet points are fine. Bullet point out, here are the 10 things that I want to practice talking about today. And you can just make notes and then record it. And it's a great visual that's right in front of you. If you're doing this with students, I think that the possibilities are really endless. One activity that I love to give is a tour of my house. And this was inspired by Benny Lewis. And he would live in different places, and he would do tours of his house and in different languages. And I decided to try it. I thought it was super fun, and I created a similar activity for students. And basically, it's just like it sounds. You walk around with a phone or a camera or whatever, you record, and you talk about your house in your target language. But what you can do with Fishbole is, find some pictures that can be your quote unquote house. No one will ever know. And you talk about your house, this fake house. And those are actually really fun to see, these dream houses of these beautiful, beautiful homes, that pictures of them all over the internet. And of course, that's not the point. The point is learning how to speak. So you can do things like this for yourself using Fishbole. So essentially, the purpose of the photos is really a support for speaking, right? They're really just speaking prompts. They're visual speaking prompts. And as we go through, they give you a stimulus. They give you something to help talk about. So those are some really powerful ways to use Google Slides as both in a language class or as an independent learner, right? Use the tool to record whatever prompts you've created and create the prompts around what it is you want to master being able to talk about. Do you want to be able to talk about people's appearance? Find some pictures of people's appearance and describe them. Do you want to be able to talk about some people in history? Do that. You get the picture. Whatever it is you want to learn about, you use the slide for your prompts, words or visuals, and you record. On that same note, you can do another, make a collaborative slide. You can make a collaborative movie. This is really fun for students, with classes. Everybody makes a slide on a certain theme. You go in and do edits. You make corrections, and then you export it, and you have a little movie. It's really quite fun. And the last one is definitely just for students. So the past maybe year and a half, everyone's been talking about Pear Deck. So it's a way to make presentations interactive. And it's an add-on that will just kind of pull up all of your presentations in Google Slides. And, you can add, there's different kinds of questions. I want to say they can have some audio or text, or it just really creates it's something that's interactive. And I want to say that there are some groups of teachers out there sharing Pear Deck, which is really cool, because then that way you don't have to do, you can give a couple of Pear Decks and get a whole bunch. So I think that's a fantastic idea. I think that is Ashley, Señorita Spanish, who is doing that. I think that's really clever. So, and I'm going to look for her information and check that out. So I can get some more Pear Decks too. Well, I hope you found these uses for Google Slides for learning languages useful. Go check the templates. And I'll leave some links below for you, some further resources. Until next time.
Thank you for listening to the 5-week Linguist Show with Janina Klimas. Join us each week here and visit us at reallifelanguage.com/reallifelanguageblog for more resources for learning and teaching languages.